All right, Gary, it's time. Tell us the Captain America story from.
No, you can't tell it, Aaron.
All righty.
So this takes place during our Studio Saurus days. When was that, Aaron?
That was we formed Studio Source in 1995 because you and I actually we were working on Sludge, or we had just finished working on Sludge. Maybe we might have been working on Tachyon. I can't even remember. And I was over at your house and we were talking about wouldn't it be great if we got some guys together in the Portland area to form a studio, kind of like Guy Jing was doing in Atlanta. And so then you and I went around and started looking for places that we could rent to do this and do the math, how many people we would need to get in the studio and to make it worthwhile. So we ended up with a huge studio that had you,
Yeah,
me,
we found this great space.
the Oregon Cracker Building right across from the train station there.
Yeah, that's the actual name of the building.
Yeah,
the Oregon Cracker Building.
They only let white people in.
Yeah, full of white artists.
Yep, exactly.
So that's why I couldn't be a part of the studio. Now
That's
I
right.
see all these years later.
Yep. Now the truth comes out. So yeah, it was Carl Kiesel, Ron Randall, Terry Dodson, Rachel Dodson, Matt Haley, Tom Simmons. Did I say Randy Emberlin? Gary, of course, and myself, and Matthew Clark joined a little bit later. Am I missing anybody?
Probably.
There was a lot of people in there. And but anyway, so it was actually pretty fun because it was always a full house, and some work got done, but a lot of fooling around got done too, which then of course
okay, let me set it up.
Okay.
Was it like Wednesday or Thursday going out to lunch day?
Yes. Yes.
It was like Wednesday or Thursday. Everybody in the studio went out to lunch together to a local restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably worked at the studio the least amount. I preferred to work at home. So I maybe came in 1 or 2 days a week. So I'm at home. It was lunch day, Wednesday or Thursday. And so I knew everyone was out to lunch. So I called at that time, knowing I'd get the answering machine. And I left a message saying, this is, I forgot, who was the editor that I said it?
Was it Stevenson?
No. It was an image editor. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
So I claimed to be an image editor. And this was at the time when Image was looking for artists because they had the license for some Marvel characters.
Yeah, they got like Captain America and the FF and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And so I said, I'm, so-and-so editor at Image. We want Aaron
Jim Valentino?
No.
Oh, it wasn't.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
We want Aaron Lopresti to draw Captain America for Image. My thinking was you guys would come back from lunch. The first thing you do is listen to the answering machine. And you'd hear my voice and you'd say, ha ha, very funny. Call me back and tell me what a jerk I am.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as this prank went in my mind. So I was expecting a call back, Gary, you jerk, call back. 1 o'clock rolls around, 2 o'clock rolls around, and I didn't get a call. So I thought, oh, I'm starting to get curious. So I call the studio and Rachel answers the phone and I hear commotion in the background. And I say, what's going on? And Rachel says, well, Aaron is going to be drawing Captain America for Image. Okay, take it from there, Aaron.
All right, so we get back from lunch, and I can't remember who it was. It might have been Haley or somebody said, hey, Aaron, you got a call from...
Rachel listened to the message and didn't recognize my voice. So it was Rachel.
So it was Rachel's fault? Okay. So anyway, so they basically, hey man, someone from Liefeld Studio called and they want you to do Captain America. And I'm just like, freaking out, right? And which is really ridiculous because I should have put 2 and 2 together and said, what in the world would they be calling me for to do Captain America, right? Because I had just come off Sludge. I wasn't a big name or anything like that. It made no sense, but just the desire in my heart to want it to be true, I guess. And so I never listened to the message.
No one did, other than Rachel was the only one that actually heard the message. And
so she's telling me, oh my gosh. And I said, you guys are full of it or whatever. And they're like, no, such call. You better call him back. So I get on the phone and call him back, right? And the receptionist answers. And I'm like, whoever the editor was that Gary, pretended to be, I said, yeah, so-and-so called me. Can I, I'm just returning his call. And she goes, well, he's not here today. And I went, well, no, wait a minute. How can he not be there? I said, he called me and asked me to, call back about, I said, this Captain America project. I'm supposed to call him back. And she's like, well, he's not here. And I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. So I started getting mad at her, which I really feel bad for, I was like, well, isn't he, I go, well, then give me his home number. She goes, well, I can't give you his home number. I go, look, this is really important. Okay. I need to talk to him. And she was like, well, there's nothing I can do for you because he's not here and I'm not giving you his home number. And I was just freaking livid. Right. And so I got through talking to her and hung up and I was like, I don't know what's going on. He's not there. So I don't know. I guess I'll have to call him tomorrow or whatever. And, but I was like, left a message for him, and all this stuff about, yeah, tell him I want to do the Captain America thing. Appreciate it. And all that kind of stuff. So then,
yeah, that's the best part. Yes, I want to do Captain America. That's the message.
This is the message I left this editor, right? And
actually, that's pretty brilliant. That's pretty brilliant, just to call an editor out of the blue and say, yes, I want to draw Batman. Call me back.
You're like, yeah, thank you, right? Get in line, pal. And so I.
So then when I called to check up, because no one called me, tell me what was going on, I could hear you in the background celebrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and,
and a lot of people talking and that kind of thing. And then so I said, to Rachel, please put Aaron on. It's like, oh boy, this is going to be hard for him to hear. And this was the tough part, is that when you came on, you picked up the phone, all you said to me was, Gary, I got the call. And talk about, my heart sinking. And all I said back to you was, Aaron, no, you didn't. So when I explained to you what happened, I could feel your hand reaching into the phone and grabbing my throat.
Well, if I had not called Image at that point, I would have still been ticked, but I would have, but it was the fact that I just went in and browbeat this poor receptionist over the phone, and so I was, and so what happened was I hung up the phone. I don't remember what my parting words to you were, but they weren't very nice.
No, you were cursing like a salty sailor.
No, wait, I don't know that that's true, but I don't think
all this no cursing on my channel. That I was surprised.
No, I don't think maybe I was. I might have been, but I can't remember. But
maybe it's coming back to you. No, you were rightfully angry. I mean, that was it. It was a prank that took on a life of its own, and I admit it went too far.
But here's the thing that was so funny, and everybody always recounts this part of the story, that other people in the studio, because it got deathly silence in there because everybody at that point had got around to know that it was a joke, and you were telling me there was a joke, and they all knew that I'd already called Image, right? And so when I hung up the phone, I put my head down on my drawing table, and I just started groaning, and everybody remembers hearing the groaning because I was like, oh, because I was so humiliated. And
I've not heard this part. I've not heard the groaning part.
No, it was just this low rumbling groan. I couldn't even utter anything. I couldn't face my studio mates because I was so embarrassed, and then I was so livid at you for doing this, and I was just sitting there going, oh.
So I ended up calling the editor and
you didn't
explain your phone call, and he was cool. He just said, "Yeah, okay," he wasn't.
After he finished falling out of his seat, he's like, "Oh, this is cool."
after he laughed his head
and then they hired Gary.
They hired Gary.
I did get work from them after that. Now that I think about it, I did get work from them after that.
Well.
And for those of you who have my inking book, if you look at the front, I apologize to Aaron. It's it's in the front part of the inking book. I think in the acknowledgments section, I apologize to Aaron.
That's right. Well, you were working on that book at that time.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh boy, that was a rough day. But much like the kid in the wheelchair,
I would have paid a lot of money if someone had taken a picture of you with your head hanging, groaning, and.
Well, that's the thing. You would have had to have an audio recording too to go with the picture. Because I remember audibly groaning, just like. And I remember Rachel told me later. She goes, "We heard you groaning." She goes, "I felt so bad for you, but we were all afraid to go in your studio space."
They stayed away from you for the rest of the day.
That was it, man. And I guess Rachel bears some responsibility because she's the one who got fooled and then told me. Gary, you spun this web of deception that destroyed lives.
Yeah, I didn't have the imagination to foresee how far this would go. I had no idea. When I called, like around, 2:00 or whenever it was, and heard, celebrating in the background, I knew I was in trouble.
I can laugh about it now, though.
Yeah, now you were mad at me for a long time.
Oh my gosh! Of course I was.
Yes, and rightly so.
It just got out of hand so quickly. It's hilarious now, though. It's like